There absolutely is. I mean, and please don't walk away from here thinking that, the Army's not preparing us for this war. But at the end of the day, we're not language experts. So, the odds of a rock like me learning Arabic in the year before I deploy or learning Dari or Pashtun before I deploy to Afghanistan, pretty remote, especially with all the other things we have to train to do and prepare to do before we deploy. But there is cultural awareness. The Army, I spoke about it a little bit. The Army that I'm in now is light years away from the Army that I raised my hand to join all those years ago. I thank you for saying 16 because it's more than 16 now. I won't tell you how many. We're sensitized to the fact that we need the culture, and we're sensitized to how we train to operate in those cultures. We used to kind of when you were fighting Krasnovians in the Central Corridor at the National Training Center, like they were Soviet hordes, there were little towns dotted around, but you just drove by them really fast so you didn't get shot at, and we just ignored the problem. And it was always there, but we ignored the problem because we were kind of conditioned to fight Desert Storm, where we'd be there for 100 hours and then we'd be on a plane back. So, I really am just awestruck every time, when I trained with this unit and we went back to the National Training Center, and it was 3 days before we got in a gunfight, which I knew how to do because, damn it, they wanted us to talk to people and, do projects and stuff. So, I mean, we've really come a long way as an Army in preparing servant.
I try to speak loud enough so you can hear me. When you're talking about the political differences, can you hear me back?
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. You talk about the political differences. Is there any religious differences that you found in your issues that you came across?
Saladin province, the reason that it was kind of the bastion, the shining beacon of Sunni Arab Iraq and the power center of Saddam Hussein is because it was like 98% Sunni. I think there was like one Shia in our area. He ran like a gas station. We drove by him. He was the only guy I ever saw. So it was very, very ethnically and sectarian uniform. There's not a lot of the sectarian strife that you got in Baghdad. When we took over that area in Tuz, that was kind of over there by Kirkuk, and that was very ethnically diverse, and it was like, oh my God, we had not had to deal with that for a year, and all of a sudden, these people don't like those people because they believe in something different. But really, by the time we got that, it was all we could do to just keep track of what was going on because our area had gotten so immense that we could no longer really do all the stuff that I described that we did in our first 9 months. So in our area, that was the one problem we didn't have. Sir.
The 1 year war repeated again and again that you so vividly described, has the higher ranks understood this yet and come to a cure, or are they still fighting with that until retirement? Thank you. I'm very unimpressed with not you, but the higher ranks.
Well, I would like to tell you, again, this is not me speaking for the Army or the government. Did I mention that? I would like to tell you that we've solved that problem, but the fact is we've made it worse because now instead of going for a year, we're going to go for 9 months. That's so. And, there are realities to that. And I would like to tell you that they all make sense, that they're all like based on how to fight a war best. Some of them do make sense because, this is a long, long war that we fought, and Afghanistan's a long, long war. And if you tell somebody, if you tell me, I'm a career soldier, if you tell me, hey, you're going to go to Iraq for 9 years, I'm going to say, well, boy, that really sucks. And then I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to go to Iraq for 9 years, and when I get back, I want to have a family. But, maybe they'll, my wife's a trooper. That's not fair. But, but try to, I'm long in the tooth. I'm at the end, not at the beginning. Try to get my daughter who's, doing applying for ROTC right now, do you think she would apply if she knew that she was going to go to Afghanistan for 9 years? She wouldn't. I mean, it's a reality. To keep the Army alive, you have to you have to do this rotation. And then the other kind of factor is, if you sent me to Iraq for 9 years, at the beginning of the war, I was a battery commander. I'd be one hell of a battery commander after 9 years, but at some point you got to take me out and educate me some more so I can be a major, and a lieutenant colonel. So you have to keep the Army alive that way, And so in Vietnam, the unit stayed, and everybody knows this. The unit stayed, and the soldiers rotated, and it created havoc for units, because there was no continuity. Everybody was at some point and going home, and it was hell for families, because your soldier deployed, but next door their soldier didn't deploy, and on the other side their soldier didn't deploy. So here you are, a wife maybe new to the Army, maybe young kids, and you've got no support structure. So by going as, I think they made headway by going as units, but there's also some irrational reasons, some not so nice reasons why we are doing 9-month rotations now instead of year-long rotations. The wars are tapering off, and fewer guys are going to war. And like it or not, being in combat is a career enhancer, and watching combat on TV is not. And so the more units that you rotate through, the more guys get to go. And that's Pat Proctor talking. It's not like I was in the halls of power when they made the decision. I'm sure that there were, reasons of family resiliency and soldier resiliency in shortening the tours. But it makes no, I hope that if nothing else, you've walked away with the impression that it makes no tactical sense to rotate units out every year. It's those other more strategic reasons. Sir.